Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session. How are you all doing? Doing good. So, welcome again to this new session of MPPSC revision. Great. So, are you all ready for some extra revision today? Okay. Let me start by sharing my screen with you all that you can see the questions. Right. The screen is visible. So welcome again to our MPPSC revision session number 11. Yes, we are live. Let me open the chat box and see. Good evening. Hi, Lokesh. Yes. Okay, chalo, let's get started then. Yes, here we go to the first question for tonight. In Alexander Pope's An Essay on Man, whose philosophical ideas and arguments heavily frame and inspired the poem's theological and ethical framework. Good evening, Hina. Good evening, Victory Zone, Shikshamtra, right? Yeah. Okay. So yes, here's the first question for you all today. That in Alexander Pope's An Essay on Man, whose philosophical ideas and arguments heavily frame and inspire the poem's theological and ethical framework. Tell me. It is Lord Bolingbroke. Alexander Pope dedicated an essay on man to his close friend, the political philosopher and prominent deist Henry St. John, 1st Viscount Bolingbroke. Bolingbroke's philosophical arguments, particularly those concerning natural theology, cosmic optimism, and theodicy, heavily framed and inspired the theological and ethical framework of the poem. Okay, clear? So it was Lord Bolingbroke. Lord Bolingbroke. Okay. I was also checking if the uh, link has been shared. So yes, it has been shared. Right. Okay. Right. Next question. Which of the following Gulliver's Travels societies represents Swift's severe critique of the Royal Society and its pursuit of useless, abstract, scientific experiments? Tell me. Which of the following Gulliver's Travels societies represents Swift's severe critique of the Royal Society and its pursuit of useless, abstract scientific experiments? It is the Laputans, the flying island of Laputa. Remember, the flying island of Laputa. Swift severely criticized the Royal Society and the excesses of the Enlightenment in part 3 of Gulliver's Travels. The floating island of Laputa here represents intellectuals so obsessed with abstract mathematics and music that they're completely detached from reality. Below on the main island, the Grand Academy of Lagado functions as a direct parody of the Royal Society, while projectors waste time and resources on utterly useless and impractical experiments, such as trying to extract sunbeams from cucumbers. So through this flying island of Laputa, Swift criticized the Useless experiments of Royal Society. Clear? Yes? Right. Next. Which famous romantic poet drew upon Robert Burton's extensive compilation of love melancholy to write his narrative poem Lamia? I hope you all remember that work, that treatise, The Anatomy of Melancholy by Robert Burton, which was written under the pseudonym Democritus Jr. So this treatise, Anatomy of the Melancholy by Robert Burton, it talks about love melancholy and religious melancholy. So, which romantic poet was greatly inspired Which romantic poet was greatly inspired by Robert Burton's extensive compilation of love melancholy in the Anatomy of Melancholy to write his narrative poem Lamia? It is absolutely John Keats. John Keats was greatly inspired by the idea of love melancholy in Robert Burton's The Anatomy of Melancholy. Okay. So John Keats's narrative poem Lamia is based on the concept or on the idea of love melancholy drawn from Robert Burton. Okay, right. Next. Between 1621 and 1651, the Anatomy of Melancholy underwent numerous expansions and revisions. How many distinct editions were published during this period? Between 1621 and 51, the Anatomy of Melancholy underwent numerous expansions and revisions. How many distinct editions were published during this period? Six. Six. Between 1621 and 51, Robert Burton published six distinct editions of the Anatomy of Melancholy, with the first edition appearing in 1621, and massive expansions were released in 1624, 1628, 1632, 1638, and a posthumous sixth edition in 1651. 1651. Clear? Right. Next question. Which poem by T.S. Eliot famously concludes with the chanting of the Upanishadic blessings? Datta, Deyadham, Damyata, and Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Which poem by T.S. Eliot famously concludes with the chanting of the Upanishadic blessings? Datta, Dvedham, and Damyata, and Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I hope you all know that this is quoted from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is absolutely the Westland. It's a modernist masterpiece by T.S. Eliot, published in 1922, which comments and critiques on the contemporary fragmentation experienced by the post-World War era. And hence this evoking of Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let peace prevail. That's the ultimate message. Okay, and this was borrowed from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Right, very good. In Wilfred Owen's famous war poem, Anthem for Doomed Youth, what is the symbolic function of the demented choirs mentioned in the opening lines? In Wilfred Owen's famous war poem, Anthem for Doomed Youth, what is the symbolic function of the demented choirs mentioned in the opening lines? They serve as a metaphor for the terrifying, unceasing artillery fire and the screams of the dying. So, the horrors of war. The horrors of war. Correct. So, if you are planning to sit for the upcoming December net exam, and if you think you are weak in paper one, you can join our UGC net paper one dedicated course, where all the 10 units of paper one will be completed with extreme care by our teachers from Vallath. Okay, it's a 6-month structured program where you will be given 3 classes 3 days a week. All right. Next, who among the following is widely recognized as the pioneer of the Imagist movement in poetry, having heavily edited the anthology Des Imagistes 1914? Have you all liked the session, guys? Please like the session, okay? All right. Please like the session. Yeah. Thank you so much to you all for liking this session. Correct. Okay, now. So who among the following is widely recognized as the pioneer of the Imagist movement in poetry? Yes, yes, it is. But look at the options and look at the question. Who edited the anthology Des Imagistes? Did T.E. Hume edit the anthology Des Imagistes? No. T. Hume never edited any anthology. So if the question specifically mentions about the editing of the anthology Des Imagistes, it has to be Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound coined the term imagism and heavily edited the movement's first anthology Des Imagistes in 1914, which helped popularize precision economy of language and direct treatment of the subject in modernist poetry. T.E. Hume is the father of imagism, true, but T.E. Hume never edited the anthology Des Imagistes. So if the question has mentioned clearly who edited the anthology Des Imagistes, it will be obviously Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound. All right. Clear? Right. Next question. How does John Donne contrast the sun's age in the opening stanza of the poem The Anniversary with the age of the lovers' relationship? So it's a question from the poem The Anniversary. How does John Donne contrast the sun's age in the opening stanza of The Anniversary with the age of the lovers' relationship? The sun is elder by a year now than it was. In the opening lines of The Anniversary, which says all kings and all their favorites, Here, John Donne contrasts the aging of the natural world with the enduring nature of the lovers' bond. While the lovers are celebrating 1 year together, the sun is older by a year, a small natural aging that brings it one step closer to its inevitable decay. In contrast, their love transcends time and hath no decay. Okay, so option B is the correct answer. Next. Complete the paradox used by John Donne to describe the eternal nature of the lovers' bond in the first stanza. So complete the paradox used by John Donne to describe the eternal nature of the lovers' bond in the first stanza. You have to fill in the blank. You have to do fill in the blank. There's no tomorrow hath nor yesterday. Running it never runs from us away, but truly keeps his first, last dash. But truly keeps his first, last, everlasting day. First, last, everlasting day. Everlasting day. Okay, clear. Right. In the essay Our Motherland, Swami Vivekananda asserts that India can rightfully lay claim to being which of the following? In the essay Our Motherland, Swami Vivekananda asserts that India can rightfully lay claim to being which of the following? Punya Bhumi. Punya Bhumi. In his essay Our Motherland, Swami Vivekananda asserts that India is the land to which all souls on this earth must come to account for karma, and rightfully claims it to be the blessed Punya Bhumi or holy land. Punya Bhumi or holy land. According to Swami Vivekananda, what is the cornerstone and fundamental legacy of Indian culture that transcends all linguistic, political, and economic differences? According to Vivekananda, what is the cornerstone and fundamental legacy of Indian culture that transcends all linguistic, political, and economic differences? What is so special about us? What is so special about our Indian culture? It's spiritual unity. It's spiritual unity. Clear? Right. In the opening chapter of A Farewell to Arms, Ernest Hemingway notes that 7,000 soldiers died of what specific cause, deliberately framing the grim realities of war. In the opening chapter of A Farewell to Arms, Ernest Hemingway notes that 7,000 soldiers died of what specific cause, deliberately framing the grim realities of war. The soldiers in A Farewell to Arms died of cholera. They died of cholera. The soldiers died of cholera in Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms. All right. So that's all for tonight from our side. I really hope you guys loved the session and enjoyed answering these questions. Tomorrow I will be back with more at exactly 9:30 p.m. So do join me tomorrow as well. And you can also join our UGC NET Paper 1 dedicated course. Okay. So great then. Tata. Take care. Good night. Bye. And see you all again tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. for some more revision of MPPSC. Okay. Bye. Take care. Good night.